Well, there's been a couple of high-profile uh, arrests that have happened since our last interview. Casanova 2 times. Did you hear about his whole situation?
No.
He's a rapper from New York, from Brooklyn. I'd interviewed him some years back. And when he got arrested, my name started to trend on Twitter for like 2 days.
Yeah, I heard people, they say they leave your show, they get arrested.
Right.
I said,
right.
The police don't be lurking around this show.
As soon as, there was another great rumor that I secretly give all my raw footage to the police before putting it out. That's the rumor I heard as well. Which I'm not sure why I would do that, because literally every second of the footage comes out publicly. So I'm not quite sure what the advantage is for doing this, but I get blamed for anything. So Casanova gets locked up, and they're like, oh, it's because of the Vlad interview, and I start to trend for like 2 days and so
That was
forth.
good for you.
No, not really.
You don't like trending?
Not really.
Not that way.
Not that way. let me trend for something good. Let me trend for something cool, like winning some award or putting out a great interview. Not over some fake rumors, like, you know what I mean?
Well, it trended the same way when it came out that it was not you.
No.
It didn't trend the same way?
When it's not me, it gets buried under the rug. Yeah, it gets swept under the rug.
Oh, okay.
No one pays attention to this. In fact, I remember, like, there was a fake story. I remember it was like this meme that was just going around everywhere. Because this one rapper I'd interviewed a bunch of times, Arab, got found guilty. And there was a meme that the judge in Arab's case personally thanks DJ Vlad for helping to convict him. And they had this picture of a white judge and Arab. I don't even think it's the judge for the case. There's literally no truth in this. Like, I mean, literally the judge did not say anything. I actually went through the transcripts just to make sure. And then Arab did an interview recently from jail that said Vlad has nothing to do, like literally nothing to do with my case. My Vlad interviews have nothing to do with it, but no one really covers that part, But we actually looked into the Casanova case. So the feds actually alleged that he was a leader of the untouchable guerrilla Stone Nation. He was among 18 members who were charged with racketeering, murder, narcotics, firearms, and fraud, COVID fraud. Essentially. He's facing a maximum of life in prison if convicted, with a mandatory minimum of 10 years. And we actually looked through the case. I actually looked through the paperwork because, my name got dragged into it. So
find out where was you at?
Right. Number one, Vlad TV is not anywhere in the paperwork, first and foremost. There was one statement in the paperwork that said that in interviews, he had talked about stabbing inmates, which he did talk about in our interview, but he also talked about in a bunch of other interviews as well. But what was in the paperwork was his Instagram posts. He had posted pictures of guns and weed. His iCloud photos from his phone, and text messages to other alleged gang members. There was also 6 wiretaps that were used. Ultimately, the judge denied a $2.5 million bail that he had basically, him and a bunch of people he knew, put together $2.5 million between money and property and whatever else. The judge ended up denying that. So now he's going to have to
fight his case from prison.
Yeah. When you look at cases like this, and you look at now, there is so much data that the police could get, that the feds could get, between your phones, your Instagram, everything else like that. Because there's a picture of him like holding these big bushels of weed, right? But he's in Cali. But then they have text messages saying that he was actually using that weed and distributing it to other gang members. You see what I'm saying? Like, and then there is, pictures of guns that he had posted on his Instagram story, but also there was stuff like that in his personal phone and so forth. When you look at these types of situations, is there really any chance of people getting away in this day and age?
Well, you have to be way smarter than I was Way smarter than Harry-O was.
You guys are pretty smart.
Well, we didn't get away. So when you look at it, you know, you gotta be disciplined, smart, know when to quit, you know, and know what you're looking at. You know, I can remember when we were at Lompoc, a couple guys that was going out and to commit crime, they studied the law. They knew exactly how much. No, I ain't going this much. I'm gonna stay right under that number right there because this is the amount of time I can do. And a lot of these kids, they don't really analyze what they're doing. You know, they just go out and start doing stuff, and you know, you wind up with situations like this right here.
Is there a real statute of limitations for this type of thing, for drug dealing?
For drug dealing, yeah, 7 years.
7 years, right?
It's really 5, but they can get a waiver from the judge to get him 2 more years.
Yeah, because, you know, people have this great conspiracy that, like, because, you know, I've talked about my botched, you know, cocaine kilo deal from the late 90s that I did. And people are like, oh, Vlad must be working for the Fed still over that case. But that's way past the statute of limitations. But can't they do something like if it's an open case, they could still...
If you indict it. If you indict it and you run...
Oh.
If you don't come and face it,
aha,
then the indictment can stay open forever.
Aha, okay. So if you were indicted 20 years ago...
And yeah, it's still open.
Aha. But if you were never indicted, you could talk about all the dirt that you did.
Yeah, 5 years. 5 years is really... But they can also go extra to it. It's hard to judge. Most judges won't let them do it, but if it's the right case, they will, because the way it works is that you have a right to defend yourself in a reasonable amount of time. And if they let 5 years go by, you know, witnesses forgot, evidence has been moved around, and a lot of stuff come up. So they really like you to do it fast. This is why they say a fast and speedy trial. But if it's the right person, you know, they can say, okay, give us an extra 2 years on this guy right here because of this.
Okay. So you could say, I moved $1 billion worth of cocaine 10 years ago, and there's nothing they could do about it.
No.
Really?
Nope.
Wow.
Especially if it's just cocaine. Now, if you put a murder in there.
No statute.
No statute of limitation on murder.
Right.